Hey, this is John and Ben with Gate Leapers and Geek Exploration, the podcast, and we have something new and exciting to share with you. We made more comic book.
Now live on Kickstarter, Space Oddities #3.
Space Oddities is an adventure comedy story about the crew of the Aftosa, Jorge McSanchez and Dirk.
They are in the business of locating and procuring lost or misappropriated antiquities.
While on a job, a young woman named Jet Paxton suddenly becomes an unsolicited crew member.
Jet's quest to find her mother will point them toward a fabled artifact of immense power and all the danger that comes with it.
Space Oddities is the beautiful, talented, and great-smelling love child of Indiana Jones and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
So if you're into screwball space adventures with a little heart, visit spaceoddities.com for the latest updates and to learn more.
And if you're new to Space Oddities, you can get all 40 pages of issue 1 on Drive-Thru Comics for just $1.
Cheap.
This is not a test. Don't expect to be impressed. Put on your life vest. Sit down your armrest. It's time to stray from the grind. Don't take my hand, 'cause you'll find no peace of mind. Side quest.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Side Quest, the episodes we do between the episodes for which this podcast is named, and an intro which goes more convoluted with every passing day. Why did I damn myself to this eternal curse? Who knows? But today, I am Drew Hayes, joined by MK Gibson and Steve Wetherell.
Hello.
Hello. I like the little fancy, the Weatherell. I like it. Like it's like you're like the knockoff like Kryptonian that didn't make it to Weatherell. You know, like
Weatherell. It does sound how it's spelled.
Now, if you're gonna reference the weird language things, you really should call it Krypton.
Yeah.
Go full Brando.
Go Krypton. Yeah.
Welcome to Krypton.
It's just a shitty island off the coast of northern Scotland. It's just like there's 4 sheep and one farmer. This is Krypton. Steve Wetherell is my son.
Can we maybe get a second take on that? Go fuck myself? Okay, go fuck myself. Got it.
Exactly.
Got it, Brando.
I'm reading the cue cards off the off.
It's just that there's years of comic book lore. Shut up, and go to hell. Okay. Whatever you say, Mr. Brando.
I will send you my only son, ham sandwich, double rye. That's the order sheet. That's the order sheet
That's
for
the
food,
craft.
Mr.
That's
Brando.
craft services, Mister.
All right, I guess Jor-El likes ham now. I guess that's in canon.
Jor-El loves ham sandwiches.
So,
I mean, it was implied.
well,
so
Waistline
Gibby and Steve got the pre-warning before we started rolling, but this is going to be a bit of a goofy one because I am 2 days back from Dragon Con, and one of those days was spent launching a book.
Yeah.
So
I'm like that after a regular con. Fuck only knows what I'd be like after a Dragon Con. Now, that being that, I have massive DC FOMO because I've never been to one. And I never wanted to. I've done a bunch of cons as this stage of my writing career, and I'm cool with that. But after watching all the photos and everything like that come through, I guess in my head it was, I know it's bigger than the cons I've been to, but it just looks like the same con, just spread across 19 hotels. So it's just a lot of that running around business. So yeah, I got the FOMO, and I really want to try to get there for 2025. I already got the wife kind of coming on board because that's right around back to school time for us. So it's kids in school, she's a teacher, and I can't just say, fuck off, I'm going to go nerd out for like 4 days in Atlanta. But I'm trying to for next year. That's my goal.
There you go, you've been inspired.
Well, I also see like cool stuff like, I know that person, I know that person. I would love to have met that person. Oh, fuck, I know that person. I could have met that person to that person. Fuck me. So, yeah, I got the FOMO.
it is really cool getting to meet a lot of other folks like who do this job because we love our job and we're lucky to have A&D. It's an isolating job.
It is.
It's hard to talk to people, about the particular challenges and whatnot of this job because one, complaining about your writing job really just immediately feels like you should be kicked in whatever genitalia you have.
Right.
Because it's like, all right, okay, go fuck myself. Go fuck myself. But there are challenges to the job, and sometimes it is nice to talk them over with other people who are going through the same hurdles, compare strategies, commiserate, etc. So yeah, going to a con that's so big that brings in so many other folks who do this job, it allows for like a level of socialization that you don't get even at a regular con. That's also part of why we're so exhausted from it. It's like I went out and like hung out with people at a bar. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm old. I
tend to save that because I have certain friends. We only get to see each other every so often. So every time we're together, we have some drinks. But as far as they're concerned, I don't drink when I'm not hanging out with my friends. There's my 9 to 5. I tend not to drink. So, but I do miss it. I do miss just like every once in a while just going out to the bar. But every time I go to a con, I go to the bars, have a few drinks, get to actually talk about this business with other people and learn things I'm still learning as I go. I realize, oh, fuck, I don't have the tolerance I used to have. Oh, God, why do I feel so bad the next morning? Why am I doing this? And yeah, I'll have another drink. Just give it to me. Fuck, yeah, hair of the dog. Just give it to me now. So, yeah.
Well, every con I've ever been to has been an A&D con. The trick is to not stop drinking. You just got to roll that through. And then it'll catch you. You just have a massive existential crisis on the Tuesday. That's the only way I can possibly socialize with people and pretend to be a acceptable, accessible human being with a personality.
I could have sworn that you went to a con with us before the Vegas one. Charlotte? Did you not go to Charlotte before Vegas?
Yeah, but that was kind of I classed that as like an A&D con genesis. I wasn't getting
that was
proto
A&D.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were hatching a scheme.
Yeah, there were other people there, but they weren't that interesting to me. I sensed my tribe. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose I've never really even tried a con outside of the A&D safety net, by which I mean Bevan's cooler. So I don't know. Going to a con and not just standing in the smoking area for 8 hours, blaring at people about chubby naked wizards. It sounds frightening to me. It sounds like a frightening step.
I will say Dragon Con is special. Dragon Con is the only one I make an effort to go to. At this point, this sounds like ego, but really it's exhaustion. I just don't apply to cons anymore. If someone wants me and they invite me, that is awesome. But like, I have so much to do, so much of the time, that if it's not a major event, such as Dragon, or folks who are going to save me the hassle of jumping through the application process, where I know that there is an audience of people who want me there, I'm probably not going to invest the time in applying to another con. I like them, but they wear me down too much.
The Bevan stage where he just flat out says, I'm not really interested in any convention that isn't about me. Not there yet.
I'm not there yet.
So you can see me at SteveCon 2028, or you can fuck off.
As much as I love the A&D cons, there is something to be said for not being a center of attention at a con. And this might be a little bit more me specific. Like folks who know my idiosyncrasies.
There you go. You're good. You write for a living. Come on, you got there. You got
Christ,
there.
I'm
Take
tired.
a walk.
Whew. Oh man. Know that I tend to keep pretty firm divisions between my public and private life. I really like the idea of fame is not something that particularly appeals to me. Like I would love my books to be famous. I don't need me to be famous. In the same way. Like name, sure. Recognizable on the street? Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I don't really remember anyone's name or face anyway. So I'd be like, who is this person? Am I related to this person? Yeah. Am I supposed to know them? Yeah, it'd be very confusing for me.
Gibby, I'm 6'4", and my baseline of talk is other people's yelling. I don't need more attention.
I've met you, sir. I understand. I understand. I'm okay. After having met you, especially, like I got it. I got it very quickly who you are as a person, and I respect it. That being said, I wouldn't mind a little fame whore, just a little bit more. Like at a heart, we're all writers. We want people to like, here's our work, here are our thoughts. It comes from us. There's a level of narcissism that comes with it. I don't need to be like, I don't want to walk around like J.R. Martin and like dub somebody Sir Chicken Wing as they bring me food and things like that. Not to that, but just a little bit. A little bit will be nice. A little bit more than where I'm at. A happy balance.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's fine. I think given where our culture is on the overview of fame, I feel like I might be the one out of step with
You're
the
not.
band here.
And I truly, and here's why. And this is just the I'm gonna be shitty for a second. As people, we love to prop people up as heroes above our shoulders and hold them up high. And then 30 minutes later, we like to let them go and watch them fall and laugh on their way down too. Because society does that over and over and over and over. So I understand, like, I don't need to get up here to get dropped back down. Just a little bit of recognition for the work that's being done. Cool, So that I get it.
Well, there's also, speaking also kind of more to the work and legacy and stuff. You, I, Steve, all of us as writers, we are the weakest point of our stories inherently, because we are not set when we're done. A good example of this is the rise and fall of J.K. Rowling. She was very beloved by so many people. Those books meant so much to so many people. And then she rolled out her incredibly hateful series of views. And because of that tarnished the work for so many people. That made a great deal of the readers who loved that world, who found its escapism, who, that was something special to them, and it took part of that away. And that is a simple truth of we are the weakest link of our stories. And I feel like the more we put ourselves at the forefront, the more opportunities there are for missteps or fuck ups or just saying things that kind of break the suspension of disbelief, or muddy the characters.
I get that. I mean, there's certainly, take the wonderful lady who writes the Wandering In books. I know she is a huge introvert and she doesn't even do interviews. When she gets a list of interviews and she answers her questions and her narrator reads them back to interviewers for her, the Pirate Abigail. And I respect that. There's a level of privacy they want to have, I'm a little bit more open about my life and like that but I know what you also mean. You don't need to open the door all the way. People don't need to see, because there is a level of private life you have to have. And because, when I started writing, people were like, hey, can I send you something? I'd love to, but I don't have a P.O. box, not yet, and like, so I was very careful with who knows where I really live and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
In my case, I mean, it's probably not something I'll ever have to worry about, but there's a reason I dress up in like dumb outfits at a con. It's because
I thought that's just how you dressed.
No, I mean, yeah, sometimes when I'm feeling special, but no, it's I like the product. I like it's pretty much the same when I was in a band. I liked the songs. I liked the idea of the band. I didn't necessarily want people to talk to me afterwards, because then they're just going to realize I'm a drunk and a bit of a dick, and I'm not really interested in people knowing Steve Weatherall. I'd rather people knew Brandon Firemaster or Stan Dandyliver or Authors and Dragons.
I thought you meant the clothes you wear when you're standing outside at
I got it.
Smoke Dock talking. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you meant like.
Sorry, I'll let you. I'd let you
with your
joke
tight
breathe.
pants and the shirts.
The audience
and,
listening was definitely laughing along.
I'm sorry. I just got to put that horse underwater and ground it, kick it a little bit.
Yeah. So, no, I like Authors and Dragons. I like the books. I like the characters. I quite like Authors and Dragons Con because familiarity breeds contempt, and most of them know me enough by now to be comfortable in that contempt. So. Yeah,
I will say A&D Con is definitely special. Like, there's no other con where I would willingly be focused on for that many days, which, again, sounds very egotistical, but it's a con dedicated to the cast of a podcast that's like 9 people deep at this point. So it's very, very targeted.
I'm thankful. Oh, go ahead. I'm thankful that because the 2 cons I've been to, I was there to work. I was a guest, so I could just sit behind my table and work. And since we didn't have one this year, I don't have to mentally, I'm still behind the table. That's my favorite place to be. If I'm not behind the table, it's either at the bar or at the Smoke Dock, talking to people, sharing stories, listening, having a back and forth. I honestly, I'll go up on a stage. I don't always love being there. I don't mind doing it, but I don't mind doing all the bits, but I like just talking to people one-on-one more than being a show, if that makes sense. That's why I love the podcast, because I feel like this is the time we get to hang out. So
it's good.
Oh yeah. I definitely agree about the stage thing. Truly, I think cons for me, I am on stage the whole time. Like, from the minute I leave my room until the moment I'm like back in privacy, like I do consider myself on stage, because at a con you have a high chance of just running into people. That's one of the only times you really have to worry about being recognized, which is part of why I've started doing like if y'all have seen pictures from social media of me from Dragon Con this year, you will note that every day I wore funny shoes, a 3-piece suit, and a ridiculously vibrant hat. And that was in part to make me more distinctive and more recognizable as Drew Hayes when I'm out. Like, I truly have started treating it as a stage with a costume so that I am immediately distinct, because, you know, it's still awkward for people to walk up to you outside of like a dedicated panel or anything. And I feel like if it's immediately clear that that's Gibby, that's Steve, that's Drew, that takes a little bit of that pressure off people.
Mm-hmm.
True, yeah. I'm kind of. I think the only one in the crew who's got complete podcast, or what do they call it? The wrestlers, Confabe. What's the word? Kayfabe. It's Bevan, who is constantly just exactly as you'd expect him to be.
Oh no, he is Ric Flair. What you see is what you get. He is living.
It's not kayfabe if there's no distinction between.
We don't know that, man. For all we know, he's just sitting there like he probably does have an English accent. That's probably his real accent. We don't know. Everything else is the product.
That's the twist we're waiting for.
Yeah, he's pure kayfabe. He's but me, I can't do that. I'd love to kind of maintain the kind of podcast. Yeah, about 20% more of an asshole than I actually am, all the time. But I can't do it. I'm too much of a chicken. I'm just nice to people. It's very boring. Unless I get really drunk, then you can ramp that 20% right back up. But you were also promoting a book, so you have double reasons to be tired at the con.
I do. I was promoting a book both at the con and the day after the con, and that book is Rover Powered, a family-friendly novella about an aspiring alchemist and her ridiculously powerful dog. For folks who are fans of... I always fuck this up. Okay. I believe it's progression fantasy. There's no numbers or anything, so it's not lit RPG. But very, very light, very fun. It's meant to be a format in the style of Animorphs and Goosebumps, because I loved those as a kid, like grabbing that easily accessible, it's not too much, you can tear it down in a couple hours, kind of thing. And I wanted to, I've had a lot of people ask me for books for a younger audience for a few years, and I've also sort of just found that a lot of our fans are getting older and having kids, and sometimes want to share their fantasy passions with their family, and they might want a book that doesn't use the word fuck quite as often as I like to pepper into mine.
Oh, I was about to say, true. That's what Shingles was for.
I just give Jack. I give my son Bevan's books. Like, here, learn.
Oh no,
the world's an awful place. Here you go.
You're gonna walk in on him shoving firecrackers on a horse.
It's every kid needs.
But yeah, and that went actually so much better than we were expecting. I got to tell you, you're not supposed to change genres as an author. That's pretty well accepted term. That's why you'll have people like Shannon McGuire who also have Hermira Grant. Like you write different genres under different names, or you do things under different specific pens, because you're supposed to keep your name into a genre and kind of sort of keep that aligned. And I did not fucking know that when I started writing books, which is why I've jumped into like 5 different genres through the years, willy-nilly, and thankfully, because I set that precedent out of the gate, my fans have gone along. But even for me, kid-friendly novella is a big swing in terms of format. Let me tell you, at Dragon Con, when I talked to other writers and people in the book industry about the book that I was promoting, the general reaction was, "Oh, really?" And I do not fault them, because I went into this with the full knowledge that like this goes in the face of current market wisdom. Bigger is better. More adult tones are generally considered better. But this was what I wanted to write, and that has always sort of been my guiding star of just, I'm going to write what I think I can do the best and what's what I feel for right now. And also, my dog died, and I had to process that shit through my art. And the way I apparently processed that was by making a dog that no one can fucking kill. And so it went really well. The signing was great. We had a lot of people turn out for it. We had, even once the line kind of wrapped up, there was people who would be walking by and just stop in their tracks upon seeing the cover, and several of them picked it up. I mean, that cover does so much of the heavy lifting.
It sets a tone.
Yeah.
And yeah, the launch went really well. That pre-release went great. Apparently they sold out of the entire stock that Athon had brought. Athon Publishing is doing they're the publisher for this book. I paired up with them because I don't know jack shit about marketing young adult stuff. So I really wanted to work with somebody who was strong in the progression fantasy space, and they have just been kicking ass left, right, and center. And it's also probably worth mentioning that I talked to several of their authors before ever making this discussion or this decision, and got a sense of how they felt, how they were treated, etc. Like, if you're a prospective author and you're looking at working with a publisher, it's the same as working for a company. Talk to the employees. Yeah. Talk to the people who are showing up and punching that 9 to 5, because they'll always tell you the real shit. And so, I was really comfortable, and they've been so great and supportive on taking this, again, admittedly big swing. But we did really well on the charts. The audiobook got a whole bunch of not a whole bunch of. We got number 1 in a few categories. That was hyperbole there. So it went well. It seems to be doing well. Folks appear happy with it. My biggest concern was always that people wouldn't realize it was a novella and would feel cheated. But I wanted it to be that format for that younger audience appeal, and to make it accessible for new readers, etc. So, seems like people got the message and they know what they're showing up for, and so hopefully they like the story.
Like I messaged you the other day, are you afraid that people, when the average Drew Hayes book is what, 16 to 27 hours long, and you sneeze for 19 seconds consecutively. I mean, you can't do anything short. Basically, I think it's just because you're so tall. I think that's what it is. Life is long for you. So is that what you're afraid of? People are going to get the novella and like, where's the other 9,000 words or 90,000 words? So
a little bit. You just always want people to go into the book they're expecting. A marketing, a cover, a genre, all of that is just a language to make sure that people are getting the product they want. And so, my thing is I never want to misrepresent what I am selling to someone. So I always want it to be clear. And I know some folks aren't going to be interested in a novella, and that is completely okay. I just don't want them to get bait and switched in by accident.
Reasonable. Like you say, even for you got a couple of genres on your arms, I guess, but like you say, suddenly children's book, or children-friendly book. But yeah, it's a weird one to pull out. I wasn't surprised when you did, though, because you tend to go around the houses a bit, just sort of flex your way into whatever it is you're currently feeling. I think you're right. It doesn't seem to happen too much in the mainstream. I always thought that was something that was pretty cool about self-published authors, really. A little bit more freedom to I guess, not belong specifically to one thing if they don't want to.
We have the capacity to experiment in ways that traditional folks probably aren't afforded, because, like, I was able to take this risk, but if I was in contract with a traditional publisher, and I was like, hey, I want to write a family-friendly novella series, and they were like, no, well, that's probably it. Unless this hypothetical Drew is willing to go querying around to a new agent, because that's not part of my genre, so my hypothetical agent probably doesn't support it, and then knocking on the doors of different publishers, rebuilding a different rapport. Yeah, it's a lot harder to take risks in that space.
Yes and no. I mean, there's certain. We all know folks within our spaces that have, pick your level of success you want, but when they step out of that, sometimes they met with less success because fans come to know the one or two series or the type that they love, and they do have a harder time coming on board unless you explicitly came across the beginning as, I'm a multi-genre writer, so get on board because I jump around a lot. If your fans come along with that, then they understand that completely. And there are plenty of people that we know that, like, when they try to step outside of their genre, outside of like what the one particular series, they met with less success. And it happens all the time. It happens in both in games and movies and video games and books. I mean, it happens when you try to step outside of your genre, or what your fans have come to know and love. So every time you do that, it is a risk, because you're also, what do we said in the past, sometimes you're chasing trends, sometimes you're following trends, sometimes you're getting ahead of trends. And, we all love Matt, but like with all his success, don't kid yourself that we're not going to get a dearth of a bunch of even more people wanting to write lit RPG or game lit, or they're trying to do a dungeon crawler Carl instead of their own thing. So I do fear that some of that stuff just happened even within our community. So
audience capture and capturing audiences, I guess. I suppose that's something I've always enjoyed, being one of the, I guess, smaller writers on the podcast. The Venn diagram between A&D fans and Steve Wervil fans is basically a single circle. So I suppose they know me as a product. So when I write a Brandon Firemaster book, it's very silly, very fun, half-naked monk appearing in ancient Greek mythology. And then I write something like Everyone You Love Will Be Eaten by Wolves. But, that was surprising. I came here because Steve writes about half-naked monks, and now he's writing about people dying in depressing ways. And, they're still on board. It's fine. I don't mind alienating people. It's not my full-time job. I mean, my full-time job isn't alienating people, is what I mean. I've got a full-time job. I can alienate people in my spare time and enjoy it.
I did want to retouch one point with Gibby. Absolutely, yes. Every time you jump between genres, 1,000%, that is a risk. But what I was saying is, like, it's harder if you're a traditional versus an indie author to physically be able to take that swing. Like, whether or not it succeeds,
of course,
even getting to go up to the at bat is a harder process.
Well, there's that. There's the while indie publishing doesn't have the same stink on it that it used to have, it's easier now than ever to write a book and get it published. So if you take your swing and you want to step outside your genre with your traditional publishing and no one wants it, you can self-publish yourself and just put it out there and have fun, provided you're following any contract about rights of first refusal, etc. But there are some folks out there who feel that, I don't want to self-publish because then it feels dirty, or I didn't achieve anything. And I tell all aspiring writers, like, you can feel that way, or you can get your book out there and start building a ground, because, your first book you write is probably not going to be the one that's not your bedrock. It is the first step of many. So
it's astonishing to me that anybody would self-publish, and if you manage to get people to read it and feel that you cheated somehow, because the amount of shit people have to do, even published authors having to do it now. Right. Jason Pargin, who appeared on one of our side quests, pretty good one. You should go check out the archive if you haven't seen it. He did a TikTok recently about how he basically had to become a TikTok star. Constantly, it's like 2/3 of his job is just posting stuff all the time to promote his book. And that stuff, and he's a published author. That's stuff he's doing outside of being published. But self-published...
He's a published author with a movie based on one of his fucking books.
But that's what self-published authors were doing, while traditionally published authors were reclining in their largesse, I suppose, and sneering down at us from their golden thrones. But now everyone has to do it. So if you self-publish something and you had to do all that shit, you're going to have to do all that shit anyway. So if you got readers doing that without some agent robbing off you, well done.
I had this discussion with some folks. I did a 15-minute mentoring panel at Dragon, and had I got to answer questions from writers who were coming up, and when talking about trad versus indie, that did come up the drive home of, like, listen, whether you're traditional or indie, if it's your first book, you're doing all your marketing yourself. Just flat out, unless you're some sort of like viral star that they're courting or whatever. You don't have a track record. You don't have proof. They're not going to invest. They think that the fact that they have made a book for you is enough. Like, the rest is on you, buddy. Now, I'm sure there are always some nice publishers and good folks who will be the variants to this, but overall, the industry does not give a shit about new people, and that's for a cost-benefit analysis. They're not going to spend money on someone who's not proven to make money.
There's all sorts of depressing realizations about it's kind of... I think the attitude I had when I was a teen is like, you write a book, everyone loves it, you're made. They're gonna, you'll write a book every couple of years and you can have a nice life. No, this is just a fucking relentless machine.
Yeah, you do not suddenly start rolling in a pool of money and willing sexual partners day to day. No, it's like you said, you are hitting the pavement. You are borrowing, and stealing publicity, book covers, editors, TikTok. I don't even dabble with that because I don't know what I would bring. And obviously, you mentioned Mr. Pargan. That is the level of work I know I need to for my next step of evolution. I want to do. That's why I like to go to these conventions and just meet other people and learn. It's like anything else. You just admit what you don't know. Don't act like you know what you don't know, and learn. No matter how old you are, you've got to learn new skills and how to make your work go. So, in
a perfect world, you write something good and it succeeds because it's good. But if you've watched TV or been to the cinema lately, that's not true, and that. You'll see the occasional work of genius, and you'll see a lot of crap that just has got there because a lot of money people know how to put it there and keep the machine turning. But I've hung out with published authors who have been on bestseller lists in proper genres, not like comedy fantasy, which is basically the gutter genre of most genres. They write in crime, and you think, oh right, you had a best-selling crime novel with this named publisher that everyone knows. Okay, you're set. But no, they're still having to arm wrestle their 12-year-old agents who are telling them what to write. They're still having to constantly redraft the pitches before they could even start a book. And it's depressing. I think, the idea that, hey, an artist should maybe create some art and we all appreciate that. Yeah, no. I always thought that a writer had the least amount of layering between themselves and the audience, but that's not true.
Well, it might not have used to been, but it is now, thanks to the internet age, which gave us the ability to self-publish and to publish the way we do now, or smaller publishers, and you don't have to wait for the big six. You can get out there. It also has given everybody the unfortunate need to create, like Drew was saying. When Drew steps out of his room from a hotel room, he is the Drew Hayes Show, because he has to be. He is a character. He is a brand. He is his thing. He dresses like he's in a ska band for a reason, so you can see this figure, know who he is.
That's a good one.
Well, you do. I mean, like Tripper McNeely from make a gibberish term, and it looks. But here's the thing: it works for you. I wear this stupid hat is because the reason I wear this hat when I go to conventions is because when I was looking at right before I for the very first side quest, I was looking at I'd done some conventions. Hit and miss, some good sales, some not sales. But then I was looking at you guys before I did the side quest, and Bevan's profile picture from way young is he still has that kind of almost not a fedora, but a fancier fancier hat of his. I'm and that stands out. It's catchy, and I'm well, just just like you said, put on a hat. It stands out. People realize it, they see it, and they oh, that's who that is because it goes with them. Then I can take it off and just walk around and people don't know who I am. But yeah, you have to be a product. And that's just it, So, no matter what your social media, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter X, Threads, all of the above, you need to have a constant outgoing thing if you want what some people call success. Success for some people is I just want this book and be published, and that's it. That's done. If you want the heaps of dollars that come with it, then you need to work. It is not the writing, like someone's wrote in the chat over here. Writing is only 5 to 10% of it. And unfortunately, that's a busy part of your time. The rest of your time is filled in with marketing the shit out of yourself.
Yeah, I am very anomalous in that I don't know anything about marketing.
Well, I mean, some of the guys, I've always been jealous of several of you all because you guys hit right when that boom happened, and I'm not, you guys wrote some incredible stories that really captured the mind. And it's kind of after Jim Butcher, when Jim Butcher did his version of urban fantasy, that wasn't the Anita Blake and it wasn't Patricia Biggs. It was his more Lethal Weapon style of urban fantasy. You saw a lot of copycats from that point forward because everybody wanted to write a urban fantasy about a snarky X character in modern day fill in the blank who's fighting fairy creatures. And I saw copies. And when you guys wrote some stuff, I've seen some copies thereon. So everybody is kind of looking at the generation that came before them. While I'm of age with some of you all, I am a generation or so behind you in writing. So I'm still trying to capture what you guys did 10 years ago. And there's other
Yeah.
people going to be standing behind us, behind me, saying, I want where Gibby's at, and so forth and so on and so on.
That is a weird thing about like these jobs where we exist in vacuums of like, because I don't know how successful any one of us actually is in a larger context. Like we see our ranks go up, we know how we're doing on our income and our budgets and everything, but like I have no idea where that ranks in like the greater writer world. And at the end of the day, it doesn't fundamentally matter. But it definitely does remind you sometimes that there are people who would just absolutely murder you and put on your skin to be where you are right now, Gibby.
Right.
And that's true of no matter where we are. Like Steve, I know you say you're the low man on the totem pole, like in terms of like overall readership, but I gotta tell you, buddy, you can still do numbers that a lot of indie authors would kill to do.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of the reality is very, very tough. There's a lot of very talented people out there who are basically buskers when they should be headlining somewhere, It's just the way it goes. I'm not saying I'm one of those people, but I am. Let's be real.
You are. I always say I think you could be the biggest among us if you could generate the output as much. But that is the unfortunate truth of the market right now is you really have to write right now to stay in.
Yeah, I'm amazed at the rate that some people churn out content. It's I thought like a book a year is like, wow, that's a lot. But there are people out there putting a book out every day, it seems like.
I was holding steady at 2 books a year for a while. Then I backed off because I was experimenting, and like my last year of experimenting means I haven't had anything out since last summer, which for me sucks. Like I've got a big drought, and I've got like 3 open projects right now, and I haven't finished one of them. And because I've been writing other stuff, personal stuff going on in everybody's lives, you get busy and other things happen. So I keep trying to come back to like, I need to finish one of these fuckers because I need to get something out just to say, hey, I still write, by the way. And the other downside is like, yes, I do want to, I'm going to finish certain books in certain series. My Villains and Technomancer series are the ones that got me to where I'm at, but I don't want to keep writing those indefinitely. I have an endpoint for all of them and I need to finish them. That being said, writing book 6 or 7 in a particular series doesn't really get me new eyes. It just gets me continuing eyes from people that are on there. So you have to start throwing more spaghetti at the wall. And a couple of attempts, middling to no success on some of those. But so you have to keep trying, like I have other stories I want to tell. And so do I go niche? Do I go broad? Or, that is the stuff that every author and writer, however you want to refer to yourself, has that issue because I've got my story and you can say very artistically, this is my story and I'm just going to write it. And that's cool. And sometimes it'll be met with success. Sometimes it won't. And then you have to move on to the next idea and the next idea. It's kind of like the Tom Brady rule. What's your favorite Super Bowl ring? The next one, and that's kind of how I look at it. Yeah, that's kind of how
mine is the one I stole from Tom Brady.
I'm sort of on the very similar but slightly behind. My favorite book is almost always the last one.
Yeah, well, sort of. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Is like, this is my current child, and I love it. Now I'm gonna put him over here with the rest of the orphans and go work on baby number 15. That kind of thing. So
boot out the door.
Yeah.
So long, kid. It's a
Time
minus
to start
life
working
for you.
and supporting the family.
Exactly. It's time for you to start working for. Well,
family.
think about it. You spend all this time like rearing it, raising it, polishing it, making it right, and then you put it on the street to work for you. It's kind of like English
So
practice
authors are
of like
just
child
farmers. We're popping
Exactly.
out books as kids to till the fields.
Yeah, exactly. Now go chimney sweep and make Papa some money, you little shit. Oh God, I didn't even think about that. Now I feel kind of bad. Like we just lost people out of the room after I said that. Sorry, folks.
Some chimney sweeper out there just it was majorly triggered there from their time in the Victorian chimney. Yeah, don't murder your
Black
darlings. Put them out to work in the fields.
But content, I think, as a whole, like the amount that people can consume and like to consume and want to consume, I feel like has kicked up, and the cycle of it has gone through. Like, so Chilling Reflections, after Overpowered is my most recent like book release, not novella, but book. It's, I want to say, around 320,000 words, which, for those not familiar with word count to book ratios, About 100,000 would be a old school fantasy novel, roughly speaking. Does that sound about right, guys?
Actually, it's a little higher. Most of those old school fantasy novels are right around the 75 to 89 range. The current new market, like the 10-hour audiobook is about 100,000 words. That's your current. That's your Jim Butcher book. That's your average Dresden Files book. Roughly 100,000, 3,000 words per chapter, 30 chapters, 99,000 to 110, give or take.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. So that is approximately 3.2 of the standard style books that Gibby recounted. It took me 4 years between the Villains Code number 2 and Villains Code number 3 to have that written, published, edited, released. Obviously, it wasn't being written the whole time. I need larger chunks for my plotting. That's just how my brain works, unfortunately. I want to say about 20 years ago, if this was 2004, that would be fucking fantastic. That would be unbelievable, because we would be waiting 3 to 4 years for that 100,000 word book from authors for so much of the time. So to churn that out in that time would be like, holy shit, this guy's cooking. That is one of my 6 releases this year. 2 of them are novellas, and I have released at least 2 books every year in between, 3 on some of them. And again, that's all just to stay relevant. It's I don't know. I crunched the numbers the other day and just thinking about like what standards we used to have for for book generation, and I'm like, I feel like that's insane, like truly exponential.
Yeah, I mean, well, it keeps up with basically every other kind of content. We're just awash with content. So I remember, I was thinking when I started my job, in my lunch break, I would read Correct, or I would read like a iMockery, or I'd read something. I don't read shit anymore. All the written format stuff's just not really there anymore. It's all on YouTube. It's all on podcast, and all my kind of favorite indie writers are now doing weekly podcasts, and now they're doing 2 weekly podcasts, and it gets to the point where I can't keep up. So I just start going to shorter form content, and now I'm watching clips of podcasts that I might listen to one day, and it's just an awash with easily consumable, so much easier to do than reading a book stuff. So the amount of competition for casually reading has gone up massively as well, to the point where I've had to kind of get a hold of myself a bit, really, and start. I've ordered a load of paperbacks just to get me away from a fucking screen for a couple of hours.
Well, it's like anything else. The pendulum will swing back, because like we'll reach a critical mass where people will start like, it's inevitable that people are going to come back. No, it is going to happen. These pendulums always swing. People will like, I've had so much of this. It's kind of like every show was but every show was a fantasy show for a while. Fantasy, and then it's like everyone's like, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't need another superhero show. I don't need another urban fantasy show. I don't need another magical realm kind of show. Just give me like a good, like some guy's on drugs and he's like stealing, and people are like, oh, that's good. They'll go back to it'll vacillate back more. Same thing with this. Yeah.
Say people always say like, oh, why can't we recreate the horror of the 80s or the fan? And actually, I say that some people have done a really good job about that. But the reason you can't generally is because that was an era, and they were slamming out so much content back then, nothing compared to what we do now, and 90% of it was shit. We only remember the 10% that was great. But I think that's all kind of blown up now. Now we're just producing more content than we can create eras, it seems like. So I don't know if your pendulum is going to swing back, or whether it's just going to swing wildly into space and ricochet onto the moon.
Well, I mean, when you think of it this way, like the internet gave everybody a voice, and it gave us abilities we never had before.
It was a big mistake.
It did. It also made like, so it means like there's 10 million people with a voice, and everybody's trying to cry for attention. But so when certain things were happening, like TV and movies, for example, Hollywood taking huge cuts, even before COVID, even like people don't even blame COVID, because there was the times where it's like there's too much. So people said, you know what? I like to be told story. Old timey radio, podcasts, and audiobooks really started rising revenue, because people would like use that to work out. They go on their commutes, they go on drives, they do whatever. Like they just put a book or a podcast in their ear, and of course, what everyone else catches on to that. So now, like you said, 42,000 podcasts daily, however many audiobooks. So it's just like there will come a point where you're like, I just want a book to read. Can I just get a quiet book? Because people are going to look for that quiet time, you know, because like with all the noise, all the buzz of pop culture and the internet and whatever the shit, they're going to want that level of quiet time, and they want someone to entertain them during that quiet time. So I do think print's going to come back, or at least some version of the written word will come back in a different way before just the cycle spins up again.
I agree with you because you're saying it in quite an optimistic way, but what I'm saying is after the nuclear destruction and the EMP and you can't get any Wi-Fi anymore, then the printed word will make a massive comeback as we scavenge the
but I don't want to get
corpse.
paid in like, you know, like
Bottle
Nuka-Cola
caps.
cans, you know, I don't want bottle caps.
I do feel like we're kind of skipping over one area where the printed word is surging. I think that's also a contributing factor on audiobooks. Yeah, I mean, it's the contributing factor on the rising length being a bigger factor because, again, Audible with their credit system, and please,
oh, fuck.
I am not complaining here. This benefits me immensely. But they flattened the audiobook market to a single price. Everything costs 1 credit functionally. We priced Rover Powered in a way so people wouldn't want to spend a credit, so they wouldn't feel bad about like the value. But for the most part, every book is 1 credit. So quantity has become a very real factor that people weigh into it. Like I always say, like the Superpowered series is 20, 30, 30, and then 60 hours. I think Corpy is around 20 again too. So for each one of those is 1 credit. So even if you kind of like it, like at a 5 out of 10, if you're journeying through a lot of audiobooks, that's a value proposition that's hard to pass up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has kind of going with Steve's thing about everybody doing podcasts and audio mediums. I feel like we have seen the audiobook market basically being a exploding rocket shooting upward for the last few years, and you know, if nothing else, like that's definitely helping the written word. I realize some folks don't count audio as the written word, but that seems
you should. Like, they've done the test. It tickles the same parts of the brain. It's like whether it's I mean, I love being told a good story. When I was a kid, there was this guy that would come to our school in elementary school, and he was like he was a master storyteller, and like so being told a story engages the brain. You're interested in the story. You're invested. You don't need to just sit there and read. Also, as I get older, I mean, I've got progressive lenses now. You know, damn it, sometimes I don't want to use my eyeballs anymore. They hurt all day from staring at the screen from doing my own writing. I don't even read as that many books anymore. I buy them at conventions from authors that I know or like, but I tend to just pick them up on audiobook anyway because that's how I'm going to consume them.
And hell, if you want to get far enough, like audio is the original book. Oral tradition predates the written word by fucking orders of magnitude.
Suck it, Beowulf.
Yeah, I definitely would give you on the old eyes getting older thing there, but I don't think they are the same experience. When I was out on the van, I used to listen to a lot of, not talk radio, but we kind of have radio dramas over here and radio comedies.
Mm-hmm.
Really like doing that, but I really like just being in a quiet room with a paperback. I think it is entirely
it's
different.
It's been so long.
experience.
Every time I try that, I don't know if it's, I'll speak for myself and I won't speak for anybody else, but I swear as I get older, the worse my ADD gets. You know, I have too much to do. Maybe I guess because I realize as I'm pushing the age that I'm at, like I only have so much time left on this spinning blue marble and I got to get shit done. Because I feel like there's a clock.
That's why I'm trying to muscle myself back into it, because when I'm listening to something, I'm like, oh, this is great, this is fun. I can do other things, and I will do other things because I'm just listening. If I'm sitting there looking at a book, I can't do shit all else. And it really is something I'm trying to hammer myself into.
I can play video games while I'm listening to an audiobook. I can work out and do chores and mow the lawn. And so I can like I mean, it's 2 for 1, baby. You know, I can't give that up. So
yeah, but that's what I mean. It's kind of, it's not immersing to me in the same way that the kind of bond
it is
you
to
have
me
with
because
a paperback.
my body is doing the rote bullshit. Even though when I'm working out, it's just going through the motions I need to do, or when I'm like house cleaning or folding laundry. But my mind is free. My mind is free as it engaged in the story, while the body is taking care of this tedium that I don't want to be conscious for. Who wants to be in the moment while they're folding laundry? Who wants to be in the moment while they're, you know,
Actually,
like vacuuming?
That is something I'm also trying to do, because after 10 hours in front of a fucking screen, I'm sitting there doing my laundry going, you know what, this is nice. It's nice to be an actual functional human. Not just an extension of the fucking internet. Yeah, just loading the dishwasher going, oh, this is nice. This is my ancestors probably had to, throw plates at a T-Rex or whatever. This is good. I appreciate this.
Or they didn't have a dishwasher. They just did it by hand. Oh, there you go. You
I've
actually
seen the
did.
cartoons.
I watched the Flintstones.
I'm pretty sure they had a dinosaur to lick their dishes.
You grabbed the trunk of the Snuffleupagus, the mammoth, and soaked it up. I saw the Flintstones. That's how they did it. So,
okay,
well, that's probably enough for the intro segment. You guys want to move on to video games with our final 8 minutes?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well, the last time so, what's you excited for? Anything good on the horizon that you are excited for?
Silent Hill 2.
I'm feeling a valley. Like I love games. I used to love sitting down constantly to play games, and now I'm having the hardest time caring.
I do. I always said for ages, just remake the classics. Technology has cycled so quickly that you could just remake it something from the PS2 days, and I'd play it. And they're remaking Silent Hill 2.
Nintendo got your game plan from that one, buddy.
Yeah, but that's still not doing. Where is my HD remake of Majora's Mask, Drew? Where is it? I'll buy it.
Probably on the Switch too, as a fucking selling title.
I will buy it for the 4th time. It's fine. I don't mind Nintendo, you money grubbing horse. But
they just fucking did the 1,000-Year Door.
Yeah, I will do that until the cows come home. I will play remastered Game Boy games because there's a reason they're remastered. They're great games. But yeah, they're redoing Silent Hill 2. I'm looking forward. I'm considering live streaming that because that is a solemn, brooding game with brief moments of terror and brooding creepiness. And I feel like I can just maybe quit my job and get into that for a couple of months.
Every time they remake Metal Gear Solid, I end up buying it. Every single time. They had original Metal Gear Solid, and I bought that. And then when it came out on like the GameCube, it was a slightly better version. I bought that. When it came out to PlayStation re-release, I bought that. And now there's another remaster that's out. I'm like, probably gonna buy that too because I keep playing that same goddamn game because it's been one of my all-time favorites for the longest time. But I do like some new stuff. But every time there's like, this is a hero shooter, I'm like, I don't care. But then the Marvel one, like the Marvel Rivals, I see the trailer for that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a little intrigued. That looks kind of cool.
Dave the Diver.
Are you a hero shooter,
really
Drew?
Fun.
Yeah.
Dave the Diver's
Say what?
Excellent.
Are you a hero shooter?
No. I was gonna say I think there are games that are coming out that I'm looking forward to, but I don't know what they are. Yeah, and that sounds crazy. But my joke to Steve earlier, the Switch 2 is announced and we know it's coming, and so you have to assume that they're holding back some good shit launch titles. And
it'll be a Mario, it'll be a Zelda, it'll be
people always say that. Yeah, people always say that like as a joke. Oh, is there going to be another Zelda game? Yes, motherfucker, there is.
Yeah, that's going to move a million fucking units.
Yeah, see you in 6 months, idiot.
Yeah. But I loved Mario Odyssey. I don't get many platformers anymore. That's just not a thing that people are making in the same way. And so I feel like probably the next good platformer I'm gonna get is gonna be the fucking next Mario game. And Christ, I hope it's a Mario Odyssey sequel because I have played that game more than any other Mario game. I go back through it. It's just fun. I watch these speedrunners on YouTube play hide and seek and learned how the advanced movements kind of work. And I don't do that kind of shit, but it's just so fucking fun to platform around in.
It is joyful. It's a joyful experience.
Well, also the Nintendo games I love because when they come out, I don't play them as often, but when I do play them, they don't come with a day one patch. No, they're done. They are done. They are tested. They have sprinkled on the Nintendo magic, and it is seasoned to perfection. And you don't need because they got to fit on that little fucking card. So that's done. It works.
An actual complete
product. Nintendo's seal of approval still means something.
Yes.
That means they at least finished it. That's I'll take
fortunately,
it.
That's the bar, man.
Well, there are some games I see that they're coming, and I'm like, okay, that could be cool. The idea of the new Fables is cool, but I don't know if it's going to capture the same memory I have when I played the original Fables.
I forgot that there was a new Fable coming out.
Oh yeah,
but those are really hit and miss.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's Fable 2 or Fable 3.
It's just a reimagining. What I'm expecting is The Crow remake 2024 versus the one you knew back in the day, the equivalency thereof. I
meant in terms of quality. You don't know if it's 2 or 3.
Oh, that's fair. I guess it's also a situation where, like, unfortunately, like so many games and game studios, they want that mobile money. So every game is a live service. So, like, everybody wants to be Fortnite, but like you're only going to have one king and then like a queen. Like you only have a queen and a jack after that. Everything else is just going to fade off into obscurity very quickly. So all that microtransaction stuff is like, I do miss just good, solid single player story driven games as a whole. I want them more than anything. And you know, I've been playing Destiny for 10 years, and unfortunately it is Bungie keeps screwing the pooch every chance they get. Every time they have a good product, they find a way to screw it, and the fan base dwindles just that much more. And I'm the idiot still playing the game. So for that exact reason,
I'm a returner, not just to there are certain franchises I'll always return to, but there are certain genres that I will always play no matter what. And if there's somebody who is returning to a town they haven't been to in a while, searching for ideally dead wife, but also daughter or old friends, that's fine.
I got a letter. It said to show up here.
I got this mysterious letter from my wife who I thought was dead. And all I have with me is this tire iron. It's like, I'm playing your game. Congratulations.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that kind of thing is like that game. I don't think that game could exist anymore because that's like getting the email from the Nigerian prince saying, "I will send you 100,000 if you give me 1,000 now." Like I got a letter from my dad. Yeah, whatever. Chat GPT. I'm not coming to your weird
Just
town.
Put
Fuck
it this
off.
way. If there's ever a Shingles video game, that's the format it's got to take. It's going to be a completely normal character returning to the town of his birth, searching for his dead wife, who's not dead. She's just sleeping with a bunch of guys. But everything in the town is made by Robert Bevan.
So it's...
I would love a Silent Hill style Shingles video game where we just incorporate a bunch of the different stories as like settings and vignettes there.
It'd be the worst best video game
that's
ever.
That's our next campaign goal. Blix, you're in charge of deving out these models in this game thing. We'll do a Kickstarter and we're going to put you to work for the next 7 years. So
get your wallets
welcome
ready,
to the A&D
listeners.
style. You propose it, you have to do it.
Yeah. Sorry, listeners, you were here while it happened, so I guess put aside $1,000 or so. Yeah. You're all developers now.
Gibby, that comment about the live service thing is incredibly appropriate on the day we're recording this, because have you guys heard about the Sony Concord game?
Oh, that's the reason I brought the hero shooter. That thing crashed and burned in like the matter of a week.
Yeah, they not only, as of like last night, they not only took it down from sale,
they refunded
everyone who bought it. Just fully like 200 million, 8 years of development game a week.
The sad part is I've seen a lot of YouTubers, obviously some people shitting on it for pick your reason for shitting on it. Like, but the ones I've seen more and more have been it just looked generic. It was a hero shooter inside of a genre of hero shooters already exists, going up against things like Marvel Rivals and Overwatch 2, etc. But the heroes, it looked like a knockoff Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's all these videos, all these YouTubers who are like basically art devs. They are artists and devs and things like that, like trying to fix their characters for them to make them look cool, because all the characters they put up there look just like generic NPCs as opposed to like characters you want to play. Apparently the gameplay looked fine. It was fun. I've watched videos. It looks competent. It just didn't pull anybody in a way like, hey, you weren't excited to play this game? It just fizzled.
And for this kind of thing, it has to be that. You have to be excited for it. You have to have that momentum, because there's no discovering it later. It's a live service. Like,
in the old days,
you can't have a slow growth.
That would have killed the industry for 10 years. But now we're just like, whoop, that didn't work. On to the next storm of content.
Yeah. Well, so the rumor is they're going to take it down, polish it up, and then put it back as a free-to-play game, and then with microtransactions. I'm like, and I think at that point, man, just take the L. Just take the tax write-off, take the L, because if you put that back up as a free-to-play, but with microtransaction type game like Fortnite, I don't know. Like, again, why? Why?
Well, I can tell you one reason
Why?
So that we can play it on a future Brodeo. So stay
true.
tuned for that one, folks. If you don't know about Adventure Brodeo, it's the slot we use to record this side quest. It's on YouTube. You can go click it. You know how it works. But our time has run short. The hour is nigh, and now we must all say goodbye. Gibby? Steve?
Goodbye.
I can't top that. Bye, everybody.
That was very poetic. Goodbye.
It was good. It
Farewell,
was like
everyone. We'll see you next time.
See you, pricks.
Bye, everybody.
There we go. I've ruined it.
There we go.
Authors and Dragons is brought to you under a Creative Commons license, meaning you are free to share this material so long as credit is given to those who created it, which is us, the people you just heard play the game. Opening and closing themes performed by the Gore Core 4.
Authors and Dragons!